3 things you have to pay attention to if you want to be successful with your Pinterest marketing strategy. I'm Emily Bales. I'm a Pinterest marketing expert and coach, and for the past 5 years, I've helped my clients and my students increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. So in today's episode, I'm going to share with you these 3 important things that you really have to really analyze, pay attention to, and take into consideration if you want to see results on Pinterest for your business. So the first thing you really need to understand, pay attention to, utilize, do your research, have a strategy planned out, is utilizing keywords. You can think of Pinterest as Google or YouTube in terms of the way that the platform functions. It's a search engine. Now, it's kind of a common misconception that people think that Pinterest is similar to social media. And yes, there are social aspects to it, such as you can comment on pins, like pins, but to its core, it's actually a search engine. So that means it really thrives off of keywords. So if you want to be successful on Pinterest, you have to understand what keywords your audience is actively searching for. Now, I have a lot of different episodes on how to do keyword research, and I even have inside my course, Pinterest Marketing Magic, resources and different ways that you can organize those keywords. And it's something that you want to start with doing that keyword research before you start really creating pins and getting your content out there on Pinterest. Because if you're not properly optimizing your content with the right keywords, then you're going to be missing your target audience on the platform. Now, one thing that is so nice about Pinterest is because it is a search engine, people are searching through keywords, and I really believe they're more primed to take action on our content, our lead magnets, our products, because they are actively searching for those solutions via those keywords. So if you're wanting to learn more about how to do keyword research and where to find those keywords, I'm going to make sure to link my other episodes below so you can check those out, because there's actually multiple different methods you can utilize. And I do want to share that, yes, there's other tools and things out there that you can use to help you discover keywords for your audience on Pinterest. But I'm a huge fan of just doing my keyword research right on Pinterest, because that's where your audience is searching, and there's so much information right on the platform. And the perk of doing your keyword research on the platform is that it's also free. So I highly recommend checking out those other episodes, but I am going to give you a quick breakdown of where you're going to be using these keywords. So there's a lot of different places that you should and can be using keywords on Pinterest. So some of these places include your profile name, your profile bio, your board titles, your board descriptions, your pin titles, your pin descriptions, the text overlay on your pins. Some people don't realize that the Pinterest AI can actually read that text overlay on your pins. Then you can also even include tags on your pins. Now, I do want to mention with those tags on your pins, when you're looking into those tags, sometimes they are a little bit limited. So you might not see all of the keywords that you think are relevant to that content within those tags. So for example, when I'm creating a pin, Pinterest marketing, and I'm always talking about Pinterest marketing, that those specific keywords don't come up. So I might just tag marketing, or I might tag business marketing. So obviously it's a little bit more broad than Pinterest marketing, but that still is relevant in regards to the content I'm sharing and what my content is about. So as you can see, there's a lot of different places and ways that you can utilize keywords. Now, one pro tip I want to mention about that text overlay, I have in one of my previous recent episodes, which I'll also link below, I have a way of looking at really popular pins on Pinterest for your niche, seeing what other people are doing that's working well and what pins are ranking well. And some niches don't really utilize a lot of text overlay. So depending on what you're seeing within your niche, some of your pins you might utilize and include keywords in that text overlay, and some pins you might not. But one thing you have to do if you want to be successful on Pinterest, you have to have a strong keyword strategy. strategy. And I can't tell you how often I'll have a business owner come to me and say, I really want to use Pinterest, but I don't know what I'm doing, well, I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, if there are things. And I'll look at their account, and one of the first things I'll look at will be their profile name. And their profile name might be their business name, but you can actually add keywords to that. So for example, my profile name is Emily Vales. That doesn't tell Pinterest anything about the content I'm sharing. So one way that I've optimized my profile name is it says Emily Vales Pinterest Marketing and Strategy. So there's actually kind of a bar to separate my business name from those keywords, but it's a place where I can include some of the most important keywords that I want to rank for. Another place that I see people miss a lot is obviously when you're creating a board, you have to give it a title, but a lot of times people will miss the board description. And your boards not only can rank on Pinterest, but they can also rank on Google. I have another YouTube episode all about how to name your boards, and that might sound silly. It might seem really obvious what you would name your boards, but there is really a strategy to naming your boards because of the keywords. So I'm going to link that video below as well. And these videos will help you with really breaking down those keywords. So the second thing you need to understand and take into consideration when you are marketing on Pinterest, if you want to be successful, are saves. Saves are such an important metric, and they're actually the most important metric in the eyes of the Pinterest algorithm. I find that a lot of business owners don't realize how important saves are because typically as a business owner, somebody who's marketing on Pinterest, we're really into trying to get outbound clicks. That's what we're interested in. That's what we're looking to grow. But Pinterest is actually paying attention to those saves. What it does when somebody saves your pin is it sends a signal to the Pinterest algorithm that this is high quality content, and the more and more your content is being saved, the wider Pinterest is starting to distribute that pin. And it kind of also creates a little bit of a snowball effect as well, because when one person saves your pin, not only are they saving it to to their board, but anybody who also follows them might also see that content as well. So it can kind of snowball in that way. But as I mentioned, it's also sending signals to the Pinterest algorithm that this is quality content and maybe they should show it to more people. So one thing I want to share with you, if you are wondering how to get more saves on your pins, in one of my most recent YouTube episodes, I share with you how to go back and look at some of the most popular pins within your niche. I kind of shared this even with the text overlay. This is that same video where you are really analyzing the top ranking pins for specific keywords that you want to rank for. And you can pay attention to some of the things that those pins that have been saved the most all have in common. Do they have text overlay? Do they not have text overlay? What keywords are they utilizing? And I even show you a way to essentially open those pins in a incognito browser. And what that will also allow you to do is look at the annotations on that pin. So those are going to be important keywords that are associated with that pin. And you can use those keywords in your content as well. Now, of course, I'm not recommending that you go and do exactly the same thing, but you can look for common themes. Are the pins all text overlay? If you're in a parenting niche, are the pictures of babies? Are they of bottles? Like I said, you're looking for common themes here. So I think that's going to be really helpful. And another thing that you can do is you can also tell people to save your pin. That's one thing. When I would create video content, I would actually tell people to actually save the pin. I think that the best strategy though, when you're wanting to get more saves, is just create really amazing content and find a way to make people feel like, ooh, this is so good. I need to remember this. I want to come back to this for later. So it's really putting that user experience first and creating amazing content. I've shared with some of my students inside my Pinterest Manager Academy, which is my signature academy where I am teaching people how to start their Pinterest management business. And that's essentially the service I've offered for the past 5 years, where I am working on my clients' Pinterest accounts and I'm helping them increase their traffic and their profit. So if you're interested in the Pinterest Manager Academy, side note, I will also link those free resources for you below if you are wanting to learn more about becoming a Pinterest manager and working from home in that capacity. But going back to creating these amazing pins and getting the user to want to save that content, I talk to my students about one thing that can be a little bit challenging is, especially if you are a Pinterest manager, when you're driving pins to your client's content, whether that be a blog post or a product, you're losing a little bit of control because as a Pinterest manager, your job is to get them visibility and drive traffic to their products, their offers, and ultimately that should convert into profit for their business. But depending on where they're driving those pins to, sometimes people have really weak content and people will click off of that and they won't save the pin if it's not great content. So for example, I had a student who had somebody who was an affiliate marketer that wanted to hire them. And my student was very in tune with best practices in marketing on Pinterest since she was going through my academy. And one thing she mentioned to me was, they are an affiliate marketer and technically they have a blog, but on their blog will be driving them to this quote blog post, but it's literally just affiliate links. There's no content. So when an affiliate marketer has a blog, a really great strategy is to explain why you're recommending whatever products or items you're affiliated with. So explaining why you like those products, how you use those products, why you're recommending them, right? And that kind of helps people understand why they might want to purchase that. So to click through to a blog post and think you're going to a blog, but you're just seeing a slew of links, it's not a great user experience, and it's really not building that like, know, and trust factor. So you're not really nurturing the audience by just giving them a bunch of affiliate links. It feels like you're just saying, hey, use this so I can make a commission off of you. It's not a great user experience, right? So you have to take those things into consideration. Now, I want to say that if depending on what you've done, if you've done that and it's worked for you, that's great. It's not personally what I would recommend. I do have other YouTube episodes about what I would recommend if I was working with an affiliate marketer on Pinterest and what I feel like would help create a strong Pinterest strategy. So I will link those other episodes as well. Now, this third thing you need to take into consideration when you are marketing on Pinterest, I'm actually going to be showing you on my Pinterest account how you can find these interests. So the third thing you need to take into consideration and what Pinterest thinks about are interests on Pinterest. So interests are even broader than keywords. So you can think of Pinterest, there are different categories or things that people are interested in on the platform, right? And within those interests are, dozens and hundreds, if not thousands of keywords. So for example, a lot of my clients who I was working with, they were teachers paid teacher sellers. And so their general interest in what their audience was interested in was education. And that makes a lot of sense, right? So even within those very broad interests, there's almost sub-interests as well. And you can actually, or I shouldn't say sub-interests, but kind of like subcategories within there. And you can actually see those inside the Pinterest ads dash, but you can also utilize the Pinterest trends tool to look at interests and even filter specific times of the year, what keywords are ranking when based off of specific interests, but that's something else that Pinterest takes into consideration. So I really wanted to break those down between the keywords, the saves, and the interests. Those are three things that Pinterest really pays attention to and what you need to think about and take into consideration when you're marketing on Pinterest. So if you are wanting to find relevant keywords that go with those interests, I'm going to show you on Pinterest how you can find those in the Pinterest ads dash, but also the trends tool, which I think will be really helpful. So let's go ahead and check that out. Okay, so here we are inside my Pinterest account. What we are going to do is actually jump over to create campaign. We are not going to actually set up a campaign. We are going to be checking out the interests that you can find within the Pinterest ads dash. So I do want to mention that I do have another episode I'm going to link below that shows you how to find annotations that are associated with pins. So you'll see in this other YouTube episode that I'm linking that if you're in an incognito browser or logged out of your Pinterest account, you're going to see these annotations come up with pins. And it's really interesting because it's giving you keywords and interests that are related to whatever topic you've searched for. And it can give you ideas, inspiration, and keywords to use in your content. And when you're using those keywords and you have these interests that are spot on for your audience, and you're using those in your content, it helps Pinterest index your content. And then when your audience is actively searching, you've used keywords, you understand what your audience is interested in, and you're kind of nailing that in your content, your pins. It helps Pinterest better connect your audience to your content. So, of course, when your audience finds your content and you're offering this perfect solution, it also increases their chances, or I should say, their desire to take action, right? So we are going to, now that we've kind of talked about interests, why it's important to pay attention to those and what your audience is interested in, we are going to take a look at interest within the Ads Dash. So I'm just going to hit continue here on my screen. I'm pretending like I'm setting up a campaign, but I'm not really setting up a campaign. I think this is so cool. You'll see here, add interests, add keywords. Within the interests, you can see that we have these really broad categories or buckets like education, electronics, event planning. Let's check out DIY and crafts. So when I click down, you're going to see all of these sub interests or categories within DIY and crafts: beading, DIY bag and purse, DIY beauty, DIY event. Ooh, look for DIY event. You'll see in parentheses 16. There's all these other categories that even fit into DIY event. So DIY anniversary, DIY birthday, DIY carnival, DIY Christmas. And then even within DIY birthday, you can click down again and you'll see DIY birthday cards, DIY birthday invitations. So these are all interests related to DIY and crafts. So you can get very specific here. So this is super helpful because whether you have content directly related to these interests or not, it could also give you inspiration when you're thinking about creating more content that your audience would want to search for on Pinterest. So this is all within the Ads Dash. Now, the other place we are going to check out interests, we are going to go to the Pinterest Trends tool. You can navigate to the Trends tool within your Pinterest account, or you can see up here, it's trends.pinterest.com. Right now, my region is defaulted to the United States because I'm in the United States. So I'm going to scroll down, and you can actually use the Trends tool and filter by interests. So when we see these filters at the top, there's trend type, there's growing trends, seasonal trends, top yearly, top monthly. I'm going to leave it on growing trends because I want to see what is going to be increasing in search based off of my audience's interests in the next couple of months. So let's say we'll go with that DIY theme, the DIY and crafts, because I was using that in the Ads Dash. We're going to click on that. And so what this is doing inside the trends tools, it's essentially filtering these interests and what are going to be growing in interest over the next couple of months. So you can see here under the end date, it'll show you too. This is essentially what's growing in trends from August 20th to November 17th. So actually today, as I am recording this, is November 21st. I had to think about that for a second. So you might want to edit this a little bit. So let's say I wanted it to be, let's do January. So I am filtering this. So let's see what were the growing trends from November to the end of January, because this might help inform what I would want to be using, what my audience is interested in, and what they have growing interest in the upcoming months. Now, because the Pinterest Trends tool is showing you what was increasing in search and trending in the past, it only has past information. So if you're thinking like, wait, why am I not seeing November 2024 to January of 2025? Well, Pinterest doesn't have that information yet because it hasn't happened yet. So it's showing you behavior based on the past, if that makes sense. And of course, if you have any questions about this, feel free to leave those underneath this episode. Comment, let me know what questions you have. But this is really helpful because yes, there are trends year to year that might fluctuate, but then there's some that are just always going to be trending, like Valentine's Day crafts, Valentine's Day gifts. Those are very broad, and it's not like this fad that comes and goes for one season. So when you're thinking about those, even though it is based off of what was growing in trends from November of 2023 to January of 2024, I do think that this still is giving you really helpful information in terms of what your audience is going to be growing in terms of their interests over the next couple of months. So that tells you that, you always have to be thinking ahead in terms of Pinterest. So we were seeing on the previous search, we were seeing increases in interest related to Christmas, but that was from August to November. So pinners are planners, so they're always thinking ahead. So this is a really cool way to see what your audience is interested in, what keywords to use, what content you could be creating right now. So I see Valentine's Day gift for boyfriend, Valentine's gifts, Valentine's crafts, Valentine crochet. So these are really cool tools. And like I said, when you understand what your audience is interested in and you can hit on those interests and use the proper keywords, which helps Pinterest index your content, then that's where the magic happens, where they're not only interested in it, but you're also using the correct keywords so Pinterest can index your content and they can really match what your audience is wanting and when they're wanting it. So let me know what questions you have in the comments of this video, and let's go ahead and wrap this up. If you learned one thing from this YouTube episode, go ahead and like this episode. If you learned two things, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would love to provide the most up-to-date and best Pinterest marketing tips and strategy for you on a weekly basis. Also, let me know in the comments what you learned or took away from this episode, and also feel free to share topics or things you would like me to cover in the future. It is the most important thing to me that I am creating content that serves you and helps you learn more about how you can utilize this amazing search engine for your business. So that is all I have for you today. Quick wrap up. Keywords, saves, interests, you have to pay attention to those if you want to see success with your Pinterest marketing strategy. So like I said, don't forget to like this episode, subscribe, and I will see you soon in next week's episode. Bye for now, friends.